All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is June 3rd, 2025, and we got an interesting day ahead. We got Jolt's jobs opening. That's going to be coming out right after the bell, but we're hearing from the OECD. They are downgrading the outlook on the economy, but then we're also hearing a lot about Mag 7 and AI and energy deals, and you're watching Constellation go crazy. People are still talking about silver, even though it's a little down, and we got a couple of events this week, but all in all, we are trying to figure out whether or not we are going to get out of this little box, and there is a lot of trade deals and policy brewing. So we're going to hear from the EU today, and Jameson Greer. You're probably going to hear some level of update on China and Donald Trump talking, and then we're going to get the data, and it is going to be one more step closer to Friday, and there's a lot of individual news out there today, so I think it's going to be a good one. It should be exciting, Chattadonia. I hope you are locked and loaded. But good morning. How are ya, baby? Are you ready? It's Tuesday. Gunner, Motivation, Dos, Ansel, Devin, Fighting Bear, Mr. Edwards, Malcolm, Sin City, Mark J, Gunner, Laurie, Zuraz. Oh, there's the chatter. What up, baby? What up, Complex? What up, Ansel, Passion, Crystal, Cam, Mark J, baby, IPOC, Mitch Matsono, Mr. Young Cab, baby, Kane in the house. What up, baby? How you doing? Kurt McGirt, Canthology, Jay the Ruler, Jamar, Brandon, Joey Kakamo, Lucky Soldier, Dystopian Culture, Mr. Bryant, Tyree, oh my goodness, let's go. Brown Todd Cruz, what up, baby? What up, Ivy? What up, Devin? How you doing, Ayos? What up, Zach? Good morning, honey. Good morning. His name is Honey. I'm not calling him Honey. His name is. It just that came out like I was saying. I don't usually say Honey. Okay, okay, dear. Okay, Shani, Godfather, Ivan. Good morning, baby. I hope y'all living good. So, Chattadonia, happy Tuesday, honey. See, now I don't say that. It's just crazy. It sounded weird. I don't know. Either way, here is Josh AI with the news, baby. Good morning. U.S. futures fall as OECD cuts global growth outlook. U.S. stock futures fell as a warning by the OECD about global economic growth reinforced concern over the impact of the Trump administration's trade war. S&P 500 contracts slid 0.2% as the U.S. benchmark is set to continue a run of daily swings between gains and losses. Treasuries climbed after a Japanese sale of 10-year debt received ample demand. The dollar strengthened 0.3%. The Paris-based OECD slashed its global growth forecast for the second time this year, saying that a combination of trade barriers and uncertainty are hitting confidence. The alert comes 2 months into President Donald Trump's push to reshape global trade and agree new deals, with few signs of a breakthrough in talks with major partners. And so we're clearly seeing a lot of volatility, and investors want more visibility. Massimiliano Bonduri, founder and chief executive officer of SGMC Capital in Singapore, said it's normal that markets are actually going to be flip-flopping. The U.S. economy has also increasingly shown signs of a moderate yet broad-based softening. A report due later Tuesday on April vacancies is forecast to show a decline in job openings to the fewest since 2020 as companies are growing more conscious about consumers' cost-saving efforts. Payrolls data scheduled for Friday will probably show a slowing in the pace of hiring. Markets are trading higher than on April 2nd, but earnings have been revised down. Global growth too, said Gilles Guibou, head of European equities at AXA Investment Managers in Paris. Are we really in a better position? The answer is no. Meanwhile, Trump worked the phones Monday and took to social media to try to sway Republican holdouts on his multi-trillion-dollar tax bill. Investors and traders have raised concern that the legislation could worsen a ballooning budget deficit and U.S. debt pile. In Europe, inflation in the euro area eased more than expected, dipping below the European Central Bank's 2% target and supporting the case for interest rates to be lowered further. The stock 600 paired losses of as much as 0.5%, while the euro fell 0.4% against the dollar. Money markets are all but certain of a 25 basis point cut when the ECB delivers its policy decision on Thursday, with at least one additional reduction expected later this year. Corporate highlights: Constellation Energy Corp. agreed to sell power from an operating Illinois nuclear plant to Meta Platforms Inc. Toyota Industries Corp., the original company that brought forth the world's biggest car maker, will be privatized for 4.7 trillion yen, $33 billion, by a group led by Akio Toyoda. Dollar General Corp. raised its annual guidance after the first quarter topped expectations. The discount chain also said it expects to mitigate a significant amount of the tariffs currently in place. Microsoft Corp falls 0.4% in pre-market trading. The Windows software company cut hundreds more jobs just weeks after its largest layoff in years. Thames Water's preferred bidder KKR and Company has pulled out of a rescue deal in a major setback for the utility. Petroleum National BHD is considering options for its Canadian company, formerly known as Progress Energy Resources Corp., including a sale. According to people familiar with the matter, Signet Jewelers Limited raised its profit outlook for the full year and lifted the low end of its sales guidance, signaling confidence in the new chief executive's overhaul strategy and consumers' willingness to spend despite economic turbulence. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company Chief Executive Officer C.C. Wei blamed worsening traffic snarls for delays in expanding its base in southwestern Japan, even while a parallel U.S. effort races ahead. NVIDIA's roaring comeback. NVIDIA shares have staged a more than $1 trillion rebound in 2 months, and investors are betting that the rally has room to run. Is that true? I don't know, but Josh told you these crazy Wall Street fucks are trying to run Mag 7 again. Last week's earnings report assuaged some key investor concerns, particularly whether U.S. restrictions on the sales of advanced semiconductors in China would derail NVIDIA's rapid revenue growth, as well as the outlook for artificial intelligence spending and the firm's ability to expand supply of its newest Blackwell chips. Those questions have been answered in the positive for NVIDIA, said Thomas Martin, senior portfolio manager at Global Investments. It's time to ramp back up your ownership. Josh would have banned this fool for telling you to buy at the highs. Musk taps investors for billions days after Washington exit. Elon Musk is selling $5 billion in debt for his artificial intelligence startup XAI Corp. The latest in a series of fundraising efforts across his business empire as the billionaire pivots away from politics and returns to running his various companies. Morgan Stanley is shopping the debt for XAI with a double-digit interest rate. According to people familiar with early pricing discussions, the financing could help Musk continue to spend aggressively on AI infrastructure as he builds out a massive data center in Memphis. Musk appears eager to refocus on his array of businesses after announcing last week that he would be stepping back from politics. He had spent months as a senior advisor and regular companion to President Donald Trump, for whom he campaigned in the 2024 election and was a top financial supporter. Microsoft cuts hundreds more jobs after firing 6,000 last month. Microsoft Corp cut hundreds more jobs just weeks after its largest layoff in years, underscoring the tech industry's efforts to trim costs even as it plows billions of dollars into artificial intelligence. More than 300 employees were told their positions had been eliminated on Monday, according to a Washington state notice reviewed by Bloomberg. A Microsoft spokesperson said the latest headcount reduction is in addition to the 6,000 job cuts announced last month. We continue to implement organizational changes necessary to best position the company for success in a dynamic marketplace, the spokesperson said. Dutch government falls after far-right party quits coalition. Far-right lawmaker Geert Wilders pulled his Freedom Party out of the Netherlands ruling coalition, collapsing the government and likely triggering a snap election. The Dutch cabinet will meet at 1:30 p.m. in The Hague to discuss the way forward. The four-party coalition led by Wilders' Freedom Party lasted about a year. Wilders left over the refusal of his three coalition partners to agree to his plans to curb migration, which included closing the border to asylum seekers, temporarily halting family reunification, and returning asylum seekers to Syria. The Freedom Party has promised to the voters to enact the strictest asylum policy ever, Wilder said in a television interview Tuesday. I had no other choice now than to say we'll withdraw our support for this government. I let the Prime Minister know that we'll pull our ministers from the cabinet and that we can't bear any further responsibility for this. The AEX index, a gauge tracking the 25 largest stocks listed on the Euronext Amsterdam, fell as much as 0.6% before paring some of the loss. Dutch bonds were little changed after the news, advancing along with its European peers. Top overnight news, trade, tariffs. Trump administration wants countries to provide their best offer on trade negotiations by Wednesday. Reuters. China's goal in tariff talks is a permanent U.S. tariff rollback, offering increased purchases and investments. Link. China's grip on rare earths gives Xi leverage in trade negotiations. Bloomberg. White House says Trump and Xi likely to speak this week. Bloomberg. Trump's eagerness to strike trade deals meets resistance from EU and China. Bloomberg. Europe mulls speeding up trade retaliation against the U.S. Bloomberg. A U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick is optimistic about a trade deal with India before July tariffs. Bloomberg. Reuters. UK Trade Minister Reynolds will meet USTR Greer to discuss a trade deal complicated by new U.S. steel tariffs. Reuters. India EU reach consensus on almost half of topics covered by trade deal. FT. Washington. Senate Republicans to examine potential impact of S.899 revenge tax provision. Bloomberg. Trump works the phones in bid to get Senate Republicans behind his tax bill. Bloomberg. White House will argue Medicaid cuts target undeserving individuals to address Senate Republicans' concerns. Politico. Senate leaders push for quick budget approval by 4 July amid GOP concerns over cuts. Axios. Senate committees to begin rolling out portions of big, beautiful bill this week. Politico. DOE pausing plans to garnish Social Security benefits for defaulted student loans, reversing previous policy. CNBC. Central banks. Chicago's Goolsbee says he thinks rates can come down if trade uncertainty resolved. Bloomberg. BOJ Governor Ueda repeats readiness to tighten policy if board is confident economic outlook will be realized. Reuters. JGB market participants confirm preference for steady BOJ purchase reductions. Reuters. Ex-BOJ board member says central bank will probably decide to stop JGB taper at June's meeting. Bloomberg. RBA minutes show board discussed a 50 BP rate cut but opted for predictability. Bloomberg. Reuters. RBA Assistant Governor Hunter warns of risk to jobs from tariffs, but Australia well placed to deal with fallout. Bloomberg. Bowie's man urges caution on QT as rate cuts begin, warns policy mix could tighten financial conditions. Reuters. Bloomberg. Economy. OECD downgraded U.S. growth forecast to 1.6% for this year and 1.5% for 2026, citing tariffs and policy uncertainty. CNBC. FT. Rising use of buy now, pay later loans for groceries indicates changing consumer habits and potential financial stress. NY Times. Americans delaying travel plans and waiting for deals, leading to declines in hotel and airline bookings. Reuters. This year turning out to be a disappointment for housing market, reversing expectations for a rebound. NY Times. Axios. China factory activity contracts at steepest pace since Sep 2022 amid slide in new orders. Reuters. Eurozone inflation fell to 1.9% in May, below the ECB's 2% target, with core inflation also easing. Reuters. Bloomberg. Switzerland's inflation rate turned negative in May, prompting expectations for SNB to cut borrowing costs in June. Bloomberg. An estimated 657 passenger trips were taken during China's Dragon Boat Festival, reflecting consumer confidence. Reuters. Awins. Chinese auto dealers urged automakers to reduce car offloading, citing cash flow pressures from ongoing price wars. Reuters. Markets. Global bonds gained support after strong demand at Japan's 10-year bond sale ahead of a 30-year auction. Bloomberg. Surging government debt pressures major economies, with bond investors scrutinizing those not improving finances. Reuters. Traders strategize to profit from rising trade tensions, with Nomura suggesting gains from betting against S&P 500 futures. Bloomberg. U.S. dollar hovers near 6-week low as trade war starts to be seen in U.S. economic data. Reuters. Corporate. Microsoft cut more than 300 jobs on Monday, adding to 6,000 job cuts announced in May. Bloomberg. Meta Platforms will challenge the European Commission's inclusion of its social networking business in a big tech crackdown. Link. Alphabet stock could fall as much as 25% in Black Swan event if judge orders Google Chrome divestiture. Yahoo Finance. Walmart's revenue growth through e-commerce and automation raises concerns about the future of retail jobs. FFT. Paramount nominates 3 new directors as it awaits Skydance Media merger approval. Reuters. Disney laying off several hundred employees across film and TV business, corporate finance. Bloomberg. TSM says tariffs having some impact on company and FX appreciation affecting margins, but AI demand remains strong. Reuters. Xiaomi among Chinese tech firms set to be most impacted by new U.S. restrictions on software tools. FT. Elon Musk returns to his companies amid concerns about his prolonged absence from Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, and XNY Times. Elon Musk's XAI seeks $113 billion valuation in $300 million share sale. FT. Toyota Industries is expected to accept $42 billion takeover bid by automaker Toyota Motor Corp. Reuters. Major labels negotiating AI music licensing deals to ensure artist compensation, protect copyrights amid regulatory uncertainty. Link. Roche said Tecentriq, combined with lurbinectedin, shows significant survival benefits for small cell lung cancer patients. Link. Energy. Saudi Arabia and Russia compromised on OPEC plus policies, with tensions rising over oil output strategies. Reuters. Texas campaign to limit renewable energy projects failed, highlighting the state's commitment to diverse energy sources. FT. Trump administration remains optimistic about securing investors for Alaska's $40 billion LNG project despite previous challenges. CNBC. Canadian PM Carney aims to collaborate with the oil industry to boost production and reduce emissions. FT. Geopolitics. Trump stated that under a potential agreement, the U.S. will not allow any uranium enrichment by Iran. ABC. FT. Iran plans to reject a U.S. proposal to resolve its nuclear dispute, calling it a non-starter that doesn't address its interests. Reuters. Ukraine's drone attacks on Russian airfields mark dangerous escalation in the ongoing war, while U.S. policy remains divided. Link. FT. Ukraine-Russia remain deadlocked on ceasefire after Istanbul talks agree only on major prisoner exchange. FT. Politico. Reuters. France's Macron and Italy's Meloni will meet to improve relations amid geopolitical shifts from the Trump administration. Bloomberg. UK plans to enhance its role in NATO's nuclear deterrence as it prepares for potential Russian aggression. Bloomberg. Dutch government collapses over migration policy. CNBC. Bloomberg. Poland's Tusk calls confidence vote after presidential defeat, vows to defend pro-EU agenda amid rising opposition. Politico. FT. South Koreans vote for new president with liberal candidate favorite. AP. AP. Oh, I thought there was going to be a Bloomberg one. But there's more. That was a lot of headlines. We got to run through it, baby. S&P futures, they're down by zero point 0.1 Tuesday morning off the worst levels. Comes after U.S. equities finished mostly higher on Monday, reversing earlier losses. Energy, the big gainer on oil strength, while AI, Mag 7, and high short interest names also fared well. Rate-sensitive plays lag. Treasuries firmer with yields down 3 to 4 basis points after Monday pickup. Dollars up by 0.5 after losing 0.6 to start the week. Gold is off by 0.6, and Bitcoin up by 0.9 with WTI up by 1.2. Few dynamics in focus, though directional implications fairly muted as the market awaits for the non-farm on Friday. Potential Trump and G call this week. Somewhat mixed trade headlines with Reuters report yesterday afternoon pushing U.S. countries for best offers, while another report discussed China's hardball approach to talks with the U.S. Senate Republicans to examine so-called revenge tax and reconciliation bill amid concerns it could dent foreign demand for U.S. assets. That's the Section 899 or whatever. OECD lowered global growth outlook, flagging the usual headwinds, including trade barriers and policy uncertainty. China CAC manufacturing PMI contracted the most since September 22, with an outsized drop in new order exports. Eurozone May CPI came in cooler than expected, with headline print falling below 2%. Japan saw stronger demand for its 10-year JGB sale following a weak 20 and 40-year last month. Factory orders and JOLTS jobs openings on the U.S. economic calendar today, while May vehicle sales out later in the day. More Fed speak with Goolsbee, Cook, Logan on the schedule. Looking ahead, ADP private payrolls, ISM services, the highlight for Wednesday, along with Beige Book that afternoon. Trade balance, initial claims, final Q1 productivity, and unit labor cost on Thursday. And then Friday brings the non-farms, expected to rise by 125,000. Dollar General is up big on Q1 comps and EPS. It tweaked the full-year guide and talked of tariff mitigation efforts in the face of potential tariff-related pressures on consumer spending. Apple reportedly considering Perplexity as search alternative to Google. DCI beat and raised, flag minimal tariff impact. SIG beat and raised full-year guide. Venom to acquire STR in an all-stock deal worth more than $4 billion. TSM said AI demand remains robust and continues to outpace supply. Disney reportedly laying off several hundred employees globally across multiple teams. Constellation, big gainer on long-term power agreement with Meta. Snow confirmed acquisition of Crunchy Data. FDS announced CEO succession plan with Phil Snow retiring. Hims to acquire European digital health platform Zava. VSCO pre-announcement Q1 earnings ahead of prior guidance. Said cybersecurity incident won't impact Q1 but may impact future quarters. Ollie beat and missed on revenue. XYZ, Pins, AAP, and OSK some notable upgrades. Crowd and HPE report after the close today. Dollar Tree reports on Wednesday. 5 and MDB out on the close on Wednesday. And then Broadcom, one of the most widely anticipated earnings this week, is out on Thursday after the close. Lulu and DocuSign, some of the other notable reporters out on Thursday. Wow, Habibi. Oh, we must have make a heady. Okay. So, yeah, there's even a bunch of names moving. They actually got, like, specific headlines. CRDO, that one's 14 off earnings. Ferg is 10 off earnings. Constellation, 20-year nuclear agreement with Meta. They're all going up off of that. Dollar General is up by 10 off earnings. BNTX up 9. Follow through on the vaccine stuff yesterday. Hims to acquire Zava up 5.6. Pinterest, JP Morgan upgrade up 4. Summit up 3.8. Follow through from the other day. XYZ is up 3.2. Evercore upgrade. MSTR up 1.5. Proposed initial filing of 2.5 million shares of STRD stock. Perpetual offerings. WWD down are up by 1.1. Deutsche Bank upgrade. MLTX up 19. Merck reportedly in discussion to acquire Moonlake for more than $3 billion. Cigna up 16 off earnings, or Signet. STR 9.7. Viper to acquire for $4.1 billion. All stock deal. APLD is up 6.5. Mixed shelf. Common stock sales agreement for $200 million. Beam is up by 5. Confirms FDA orphan drug granted to Beam 101. KYMR up 2.7. Morgan Stanley upgrade. VSCO up 2.6. Preliminary Q4 results. RDW is up 2.2. Contract from Aspera to conduct space-based research. DCI is up 2.1 off earnings. VVV up 1.6. Goldman upgrade. Wrecker up 32. Statewide Texas DOT contract to deploy Wrecker command platform. AGen up 18. $441 million strategic collaboration with Zydus Life Sciences. Are they still more trading up? Esla is up by 10, 3.3 million private placement. NAC up 7.8, third tranche amended royalty agreement. Gilt is up by 7.3, 40 million contract of SkyEdge platform. CRDF up 4.3, data from investigator initiated. Trading lower, PSO down 5, IDP education sympathy. GMAB down 2.3, new data from endometrial cancer monotherapy dose expansion. GSK down 1.9, Berenberg downgrade. SATS down 4.6, will make 183 million cash interest payment. PSN down 2.1. Updates guidance on recent Department of State reorganization. Bumble down 6.1. JP Morgan downgrade. Cura down 3. They presented today on an investor call. TRVI down 3.1. 100 million common stock offering. Gold and silver trading lower, and select metal and mining stocks trading lower. Wow, this is so much, Habibi. So much, Habibi. So, Chattadonia, I hope you guys are feeling good. I hope you are feeling blessed. And here at the cult, my friends, oh, yeah, before we do anything, before we try to chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America. On behalf of the Cult Man, for real, if you have served this country, this is something we do every day. It means a lot. And really just want to say thank you. And we actually mean it. And instead of just saying it to you, I hope that we could show you. And if anybody should be getting a long-term or a real estate, it should be you, my friends. And I hope that we could help. And at the very minimum for everybody, whether you have served or not, I truly hope that you could join me on this journey in influencing culture. And I hope that we could have a good impact. And I hope all of you, young and old, can see the value of those who came before us and made that sacrifice. You may not like your government leaders, but think about the people who carried out everything. They're just like you and me. So veterans, families, everybody who has made a sacrifice for this country, for real, God bless you and thank you. And I really hope everybody could truly honor this. And I hope y'all bring this to real life. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities, doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, anybody making their community run, baby. God bless you and thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise up. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Oh, it's game time, baby. Horna. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We still haven't even got the data, baby. So let's go, man. Time to go to Gen Pop Chat. We got to hurry. We only got a couple of minutes. We don't even have the data. Oh, happy Tuesday, baby. So, Chad, God bless you all, man. Thank you to the veterans. I hope you have a great day if I don't see you. If not, man, I will see you guys in a little bit. And peace.